Herzlich willkommen zu Women Hit Harder, the Female Power Podcast.
Women Hit Harder 49, episode 49. We are back after a long break, and my today's guest is Ayan Yuruk. Right now, he's in Germany. He won the Grimme Award in this year for his Queer Eyes show. He's the founder of Showbiz Berlin. He's definitely a person you should know about. That's why we're here today. Ayan, it's nice to have you there.
Hi, Julia. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Julia, am I saying Julia or do I say Julia?
Whatever you want. It's still German. So everybody's going to be like Julia, Juli, or Julia. You know, I'm kind of used to everything now. Or Jules, or you, or German
Jules.
tank.
I love Jules.
Do you have something like a nickname, Ayan? Baby?
Hey, baby. That's my nickname. Hey, baby. But you need to have also the same pronunciation, huh? Hey, baby. No, actually, my name is so short. Ayan. No.
Yeah, and it works in every language pretty much. I like that about it.
Ayan, yeah. Yeah, no,
Ayan.
there's no nickname. Ayan is pretty much enough.
Hey, you have so many things on your plate. This is just amazing. You do like a little bit of everything. You're the founder of Showbiz Berlin. You just won the Grimme Award. You are into interior design. You travel a lot. You're like a role model in the queer eye scene. I think this is so amazing. But maybe just like let's start talking about your journey, how you like became the person you are today, and how it started and where it started.
Yeah, it's almost too much, right? What do you stand for? You know what I struggle the most with is actually what's your focus? What do you stand for? And that's like it's such a big struggle. We should discuss that later on. The Where did it all start? It all started in Schwabeländle.
Im Schwabeländle.
In Schwabeländle, southern Germany. I was born and raised in Stuttgart. My family is originally from Turkey. So it's they immigrated in the 80s or somewhat, and then I came to this wonderful world with my sparkle and colorful being in the. I'm not gonna tell you what year it was, since my age is a big secret, as you know. So what happened? I was raised in Stuttgart, pretty much conservative in a Turkish family. My family didn't have much when I was little, but that somehow also shaped me, right? My father always pushed us a lot and said, you need to be always the best one, no matter if it's in school, among your friends, in sports, or even later on in business. And that's what my brother and I knew from the beginning. And that's how we grew up. My father always said one thing: as an immigrant in Germany, you need to work 3 to 5 times harder than anyone else to make it, or to be even just visible. So that was something that was always in my mind. You need to be better, you need to go faster, you need to go higher than all the others. And that's what we basically tried and did, which was fair enough. I'm really grateful that my father actually raised us that way, even though if you listen to it and you have all the mental health attitude nowadays, you would be like, what? How can he do that with his children? But back then it was pretty common, especially for a family that, just came into this whole society newly and didn't really know how it works. Yeah, but as I said, I'm quite grateful. And then I somehow started working in the creative industry. My father didn't want that. You can imagine Turkish families are like, you either become a doctor or a lawyer or a person. And I was like, I'm going to study design. They were like, what? What does it even mean? I think my father still doesn't understand what I'm doing, to be honest. But he gave me the freedom, at least, which I'm really thankful for. I started studying design, and then it just, yeah, hit off. My first job was in Stuttgart. It was like a dual study. So I started in Stuttgart, and they asked me to move to Berlin because I was too creative for the Stuttgart area. Can you imagine? And then in Stuttgart, and then I came to Berlin. In Berlin, my boss back then said, hey, you need to get out of Germany. This is like you need to get out, you need to make it abroad and then come back with a title, because it was pretty difficult for Turkish immigrants back then in Germany to make it in several fields. And we were not really known for design. It was the Turkish people were like hard workers and whatsoever in the industry, in the factories, etc. But they were not really big in design or entertainment. So my boss asked me to go to Paris, to Italy, to UK to educate myself even bit more, and then come back with the title and just show off in Germany what I could achieve somewhere else, which was really more difficult in this country here. And so I did. I left. I was first in Milan. Was I first in Milan? No, I was first in London actually for a few
Oh.
years. Then I went to Milan. Then I went to Paris. I worked in the fashion industry a lot. And then at a certain point, the jobs just one job hit the other. It was like I was in one job, and then another company approached me asking me if I wanted to join, because they saw the results of my creative work. And then the next company I started there, and then another company asked me again. They approached me if I wanted to become the creative director of Villeroy Boch. Back then, it's a tableware company, pretty big one. And that's how I somehow the circle closed, and I came back to Germany, after Paris. And then I decided to create Shows Berlin, my own design company. And before that, maybe one more thing. When I became creative director of Villeroy Boch, that was always my dream, to become a creative director of a global brand. And just in my 20s, I got that title. And then I was like, all right, what am I going to do next? If you just achieve your goals in such early age, you're like, hold on a second. That's it. What's going to come next? So my next goal was to have my own company and build my own baby and empire. Basically, the empire is not there yet, but my baby has started. So it's already 5 years. I have Shows as my own agency. And when I was with Shows, like when I created my company and it was already working pretty well, I was always thinking, okay, now you have also your company. Of course, you want to make it big and grow and etc. But I was also thinking, okay, is that now it? Is there something else I could bring in? And then the entertainment factor came in. It was quite a coincidence actually how I jumped into that. Maybe we can talk about that in a bit. And then, yeah, that's it. That's how I'm where I am now.
I like that so much.
Yeah.
Why do you think your dad still didn't understand what you're doing? I mean, being creative director for Villeroy Boch, which is, by the way, one of my favorites for sure. I have all that stuff in Germany. Weißes Porzellan.
Nice, yeah.
Classy.
Yeah,
So
not only classy, we actually tried to take it out of the whole classy area, make it more young, more Gen Z, and have like quite poppy collections, which was very successful. Actually, I was there for about 3 years before I hit off to Berlin again.
so great. I love it. So yeah, then let's talk about your entertainment, because I also like that factor. As when I talk to you, and since I've known you, I feel like you stand for so many things at the same time, which I actually really like, because I feel like if you just stand on one leg, or if it's like two, tiny, then what are you actually going for? And you're like a role model in like many fields, which I absolutely really appreciate so much, And
Thank you.
isn't it great to just like put yourself out there and not be so tied up, like just do a little bit of everything that kind of makes you happy? I think that's great.
I mean, it does. That's why it all, for me, it makes total sense why I'm here, because it reflects my personality. Being a role model, of course, I would have never thought that we're gonna become a role model. But when when Netflix approached and said, "Hey, we want to have you as one of the Fab Five in Queer Eye Germany," that was for me, that was a moment of, oh my God, hold on a second, what? Because Queer Eye, for every queer person out there, is such a dream. They were our role models when I grew up, and I was always thinking, wow, thank you very much to give me all these insights into a world in which I felt very insecure back then. And they totally made it so accessible. All of a sudden, it was totally, I don't like the word, but it was like kind of the new normal. It was okay to be queer. It was okay to be queer and um, be an expert in a field you're working in, because that was never, of course, in the design industry, we always have this touch of queerness in all the creative directors of fashion and stuff. There are many creative people in the queer scene that are known, but still, it was pretty new to say, hey, these are experts in their own fields, and they're coming into the world of different people and make a total makeover. And the focus was not their queerness, the focus was their expertise.
Oh
Their
yeah.
coach, they're all coaches. And that was the nice part. All of a sudden, the whole perspective shifted. And that's what I liked a lot. And I was always a career queen, as I call it. you know but also in the whole queer industry, not queer industry, but the queer community, it's always quite difficult. If you're a career queen, do you really belong to the one who are suffering and who are always fighting for something? You're not really part of them, because they look at you kind of a bougie person if you're too successful, and you kind of detach to them. But with this show, it all came together. Does that make sense? And
Yes,
all of a
absolutely.
sudden, you could be a career person, you could have all the company and all the success, still be an activist for queer rights, you know? And
Yeah.
that is somehow the link that we got through the show, and that made me in Germany to this role model I am today, in which many people, especially people with migration background, they look up and they're like, hey, you're the first Turkish gay person in TV or in entertainment. It's so nice to see that finally, because we never had any person to identify with.
I think that's just wonderful. Like, I mean, I've been traveling to Turkey a lot and I love that country, but yeah,
Yeah.
their thinking is pretty, yeah, yeah. Hopefully nobody feels offended right now, but they're narrow-minded in many ways. So I think this is great. Especially like usually it was more the women that had a certain like space in that country. Now it's actually a man, standing up for, I want to say, other men and that entire scene. And I think that's amazing. And I mean, if people look up to you and be like, look, if he can do it, I can do it. I think that's amazing. You have achieved like a lot, like even in that field.
No, absolutely. Yeah. They, yeah, but I get that a lot. It's like, hey, it's so beautiful, because when I grew up, it is, if you're abroad, it's quite difficult to understand that, but people from Germany will know. If you grow up as a person with Turkish background, you didn't have many people in TV or in the entertainment industry with Turkish background. And if you did, you actually didn't. When I grew up, there was absolutely nobody. So I always felt like, weird. Why do every person, all the people in TV look different than you? So you of course question yourself. And then at a certain point, also in the industry I was working in, in the creative industry, there were also not many Turkish people or people with Turkish background in the creative scene and queer. And I was like, okay, do I really belong there? Where do I actually go? What is my aspiration? But in order to have an aspiration, you also need a person you identify with, a role model you identify with, so you can say, hey, I can be there as well. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like as kids. I always say, hey, if you go in a kid's store and all the toys for the girls are just kitchenettes, something to play in the kitchen with, to play
Dolls.
household with, to play with dolls with, and all the toys at the boy department is like space shuttles and big cars and sports and whatever. You're already telling the girl what she is going to become. And that is like the most terrible thing that you can do. And I felt the same way when I was little. My path was already there, but I didn't really feel comfortable in it.
Hey,
So
believe
I,
me, I'm the same. For me, it's been like the same way. I've been that kind of girl that liked, obviously I had a Barbie and I had the, this and that, but I also was like a lot into like the cars and motorbikes and, like boy stuff, and
yeah,
like sneakers and headies and caps. And so then I got this stuff like a lot, like, what kind of woman are you? I'm like, oh my God,
they
chill.
said,
I heard this
yeah,
so many times. Like
wow.
even my workout routine, my sport, all that. You've known me. We've talked a lot about that. It's like so different. Like I feel like it's the other way around.
Yeah, I,
And
I was pretty surprised. Do you remember my reaction when we were at this dinner table? And you're like, I mean, looking at you, of course, it's also a very cliche way of thinking. Looking at you, you're such a, this pretty girl, and I was like, oh, sure, like, who are you here with? Who took you here? That was like the attitude that I had. So, which is totally wrong, by the way. Underestimate people and put them in boxes already before you actually talk to them or get to know them. So that is a very big learning for everybody out there. It should be. And
yeah,
and then you're like, oh, I actually do what I do, and you're telling me all about it. I'm like, what? No. And then you remember you had to show me videos and photos so I would believe you. I was
yeah,
totally shocked. At the
I
same time,
know.
I was totally embarrassed and ashamed that I actually really had these thoughts before talking to you. It's so wrong. And this is something we should also mention. That's why I'm saying it. We should talk about it so other people don't make the same mistake.
100%, 100%. But it's interesting, coming from like you saying it, like you've experienced it the other way around, but you're
Mhm.
still like kind of in that when we met, you were in that cliche,
Yeah,
and then you were
absolutely.
like mirroring your own like,
Absolutely.
experience. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's all
100%.
right. Yeah, I actually, nowadays, since being a role model, as you just called it, you always give people advice also on my social channels, talk about what's right, what's politically correct, what you should do in order to be equal with everybody, etc. And then what happened to me the other day, I actually never told that story. What happened to me the other day, similar to what I experienced with you, but that was like a few years back. So I changed, I evolved, and you learn a lot during those years. And what happened the other day, I came into a room in which I saw like a group of people, and there were like two girls, and one of the girl, they were just about to go to a kinky party, and she was like totally dressed up, with this leather boots and huge leather boots, super hot pants. She was extremely sexy. She looked so incredibly good. You can't even imagine. And me saying that as a gay man, uh, you know. Um, and then I'm like, I'm get there, and then she's like, oh yeah, what do you do here? And I'm like, oh yeah, I work in marketing. I don't really dive into it because I was thinking she wouldn't know what I'm gonna talk about anyway. And she's like, "Oh, what marketing?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do like experiences in retail and branding and all that." And then she starts talking absolutely in the how you say fachjargon,
Yeah,
uh,
work language.
yeah, work language, and like telling me all this and that, giving me facts about the industry, etc. I'm like, hold on a second. And then of course I couldn't tell her that I totally underestimated what she should be knowing and whatnot. And then I'm like, okay, so I went into I let the conversation happen. It comes out that she is in a very high position of a very big brand in the Netherlands. But when we talked there, I'm like, wow, did that really happen to you? Is
Again,
again, is that is especially after all these years learning, being this role model, teaching people, giving education, giving workshops, giving speeches, being, on conferences, etc. And then you come into a room and then this happens to you. I was so ashamed you can't even imagine.
I think I kind of can, because I think that's kind of normal. This is human beings, it just happens. But obviously we've been in the field a lot in corporate marketing and whatever, so we do a lot of like those personal tests or psychology tests, or like where do you belong, what kind of person are you like the leader or the maker, or whatever. So I guess like that we are aware of it, we can better reflect, I would say. So obviously that's why we feel actually ashamed. We're like, oh no, it happened. Why? Whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. It's also a good reflection on your own, you know.
Yeah, totally. Also, if I ask questions, I'm really careful. Meanwhile, I also sorry, I'm really careful asking questions as well, because I'm like, I don't really say any longer, um, like, do you have a girlfriend or do you have a boyfriend or something? I never ask a question like that. I would say, do you have a partner?
Yes.
You to be inclusive in the way we are asking, because that's also very uncomfortable for me, at least. I had that. Now I was in Seoul in South Korea last week, and we had a business dinner, and this guy, after a few hours, you have some drinks, sake, and I don't even know if it was sake or something similar in South Korea. Because sake is Japanese. But it was an alcoholic drink, and after a few glasses, that guy wasn't just talking about business any longer, but you become it becomes a casual conversation. And then he was saying, so what about you? What about a girlfriend? Are you married? And I'm like,
Well,
um what do you say? And I was like, no, I don't have a girlfriend, neither a boyfriend. And then I just stopped there. But and then he was like, I don't even know if he got it or not. But then he just continued asking about other things. But I was in this second, I was like, that is not the way you should ask a question. It's not really inclusive. And but should I have told him the right way or told him the right way? No, right?
no, it's none of his business. And actually, and to be perfectly honest, it's like a super personal question. Let's say you're asexual and you would never want to have a partner
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah.
It's like the same with asking, hey, do you have kids? Do you have a family? Like, hey, this is so personal. Like,
This
if you
is
want to talk about it, fine, but don't ask that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
don't judge me. You
No,
know what I mean?
no,
I
of
mean,
course
some
not.
people are hardly trying
I
to
mean,
have
you have kids?
kids, you know? It's just so, and then let's say they try and they can't. Like, why would you go out there and be like, sorry, I cannot have kids? Nobody's ever going to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to talk about it, fine. If not, it's not a bad thing. I feel like
Mhm.
even like in the times of social media, like a lot of things are already so transparent. So you pretty much know, you can Google everybody, you can find so many things.
Yeah.
And then if this topic comes up in a conversation, I don't know, maybe I feel like sometimes people obviously ask that questions when they start realizing that they actually like you like a lot, and they want to know like where they're at, kind of thing.
Oh, oh, really?
I don't know. I would say that. Why
Oh, okay.
why why else would you have that question?
Yeah, but probably, yeah. I mean, there must be a reason why you go. It's kind of barrier if you're on a business dinner. When do you really go to the more casual, private conversations?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing too. It could be as well.
I was gonna say, like, ever since I've been living in the States, especially here in Florida, I feel like I'm questioning myself a lot more. Not myself, but the way people ask questions to me. Like, I'm always, because I'm East German. I'm from East Berlin, so we are very social people, very kind. If we offer help, we do it regardless. We don't expect anything in return. Fine, it's really nice if it happens.
Yeah.
But if I offer my help, I'm just gonna do it because I feel like I want to do it, right? And here, because I've obviously got to know a few people, I'm like, what is the intention behind that? Like the way they ask the questions, the way, they're going out there, and like, is it really so simple, or am I just so naive? Like,
Mhm.
oh my God. So
And
I'm a little annoyed sometimes.
what's the conclusion?
I just figured I want to be me, and I
Yeah.
want to be aware of what other people's intentions could be, but obviously not get too negative, but also
Mm.
not too positive, because people always talk.
Yeah.
And you know what in the end, what matters to me is definitely not words, man. It's always been actions, and I will just stick with it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I always say, hey, being too over controlled and over careful at the same time,
It's also not good, yeah.
makes it very, what kind of a lame. What is a conversation about if you can't be too personal or ask any questions? Not any questions, of course, but like several questions. I guess you need to find a good balance without really hurting the other person, or yeah, I don't know, it's
Maybe
like
find a way to kind of be open, but not too personal. That makes sense. Yeah. Because I know, like, obviously, like you and me, we both stand for something. And obviously, we are aware of what we want to tell the audience or not. And if I never put that information out there, I probably do it for a reason,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just so tough. And obviously, you and me, we've been traveling the whole globe, and we got to know so many people and cultures and everything. But I feel like just sticking with yourself, knowing where you're coming from, being aware of your heritage and, you know, all that stuff. This is how we are. And I think this is good. Like, obviously, that doesn't mean that we never make mistakes, or that sometimes we give an information out there that we like in the end, we're like, oh no, why? It just felt
Mm.
so good, you know, when people like
Yeah,
kind of start using it against you or something.
yeah.
So you whatever. You just wanted to be kind and loving and, you know, be positive. That's it. Don't
Did
blame
you
yourself. Huh?
did you experience that people were trying to play you out or something? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, as I'm saying, I have this like little naive positive thinking because I really try to always, always, always see the positive in people, because I feel like obviously there is positive about people, right? Not all people are always bad.
yeah,
So then obviously I have my favorite author. His name is Robert Betz, and I can always just, you know, advise that one of my favorite books was like, willst du normal sein oder glücklich? Want to be normal or happy? And ever since I'm like, okay, you just have to understand those people are not assholes. You just have to
yeah,
understand that universe is sending you an exercise, a task. It sends you the people for a reason. So because you want to become a better version of yourself anyways.
yeah.
So it's just like a learning, and like seeing the things like that, I feel like it helped me a lot.
Okay, wait a second. Do you want to be normal or happy? What does it relate to?
Naja, so dieses, sagen wir mal, im Job 9 to 5, then we go
Yeah,
home, we do this and that, and then the weekends we are off, and this is, oh, finally weekend, for example. Or the way we think, like, you know, just
okay,
there's black
okay.
and white, but there's nothing in between kind of thing. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, I don't want to be normal. I want to
Yeah,
be enjoying my life as long as I can, man, because it's too short anyways.
yeah,
Like, who are
absolutely.
those people to tell me what I can or can't do? No,
Yeah.
don't let this happen. Obviously,
No,
I'm going to be honest, sometimes it affects me. And obviously, I'm just a human being and I still have feelings, you know? And but other than that, I just want to be happy. This is it.
and how do you, I mean, it's quite tough where you move to. I mean, the States is not easy, you
No,
know.
it's not.
You coming from Germany, it is, they are different. It's a different culture. I mean, let's be very open about it. I even I had a podcast with Australia the other day. And Australian culture, I don't know at all because I've never been there, even though I traveled so much. And I was like, at the beginning of the podcast, I was like, hey, I need to apologize at the beginning. If I say something wrong, that's really pretty okay in our culture, but not in yours. Please just be generous with me and or cut it all out or whatever. Now you move to the States, which is also not. It is there are a lot of differences. Of course, we have a lot of common sides as well, but there are a lot of differences. How did you deal with that at the first place?
I mean, I just came here to pursue my dream, my fighting career, my life, you know, my language skills, kind of everything. And everything is definitely different. So obviously, I still struggle, you know? I've been only here for 11 months now, but I've been to the States before, like a lot of like traveling, training camps, fights, you know? So I was kind of aware of it, but I didn't expect honestly that it would hit me so hard every here and then, you know? It is definitely different. But as I'm dealing with it, I'm just, being myself. I try to surround myself with good people, with good energies. And the rest I just see as like a business thing or like a key learning. Every day I feel like, okay, that was my key learning today.
Oh, really? You have that?
It's definitely different. Like you can tell the ideology here is more like capitalistic for sure. People don't really care at all as long as it matters for their own business and for their own privileges and benefits, And but at the same time, I don't want to change myself. I want to still be the person that I've always been, like, kind, social, open-minded, open-hearted. And obviously, like I had a few things that whatever hurt me or something, but I just have to learn to let it go and not affect me so much because, you just have to understand how people are here. And that's it.
But do you, in that case, do you surround yourself with other people or do you just get along?
Well, I do have some close friends here now. But I obviously still have my German crowd, my people there, and I will never let that go for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always easy, especially when you're traveling a lot or time difference, 6 hours, 9 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have like some good people here, and in my gym, obviously, it's a business. It's a business. I mean, you obviously get along well, and you like, you have a good understanding for each other, but it's really rare that you actually do something together outside the gym. This is how I see it.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah.
okay, but in that case, do you hang out as you used to do in Germany or?
Well, as I'm still like kind of, creating my network, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
I wanna see where I belong because I feel like if I'm the person that I've always been with the things I had just mentioned before, there must be people that are just like me. They're probably a little more rare, but I'm sure they're here. You can find them. They also
yeah,
probably suffered from disappointment and, fake people.
yeah.
And I'm sure like even fake people don't consider themselves a fake person. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you have to like find the balance between everything, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if they, do you also hear that when I hear that?
Yes, I do hear that when you hear that.
Okay, sorry for that. I actually did mute it, but it doesn't really,
Oh,
I don't know why you can still.
I know it's like you have to still work. It doesn't matter so much. Also, it's kind of funny, I guess when people listen to the podcast or like watch the podcast on YouTube, they're like, "Oh, a wake up call. Did I get a message?" Because this sound is so crazy, right? Every time you hear it, like everybody's going crazy on the phone, like,
Yeah, yeah, true.
interesting.
Just to what you just said, is did you ever ask or get feedback from the people how they perceive you? I mean,
Yeah,
you are
definitely. I'm
such a person.
definitely the exotic flower, believe me.
You are.
And I think I've always been like that, but from the people that I care for or their opinions matter to me, of course I know where I stand. Like I know about my weaknesses and I also know about my strengths. I know what I bring to the table and I know like even in Germany being here, I'm so direct sometimes, so direct. But I think this is actually good. Obviously, sometimes it's rough edges and whatever, but I would rather be direct than behind somebody's back or, like not
Yeah,
being myself. So yeah, this is what I mean. Like if you talk to me, you will always know what's going on because I cannot hide it. You can tell by my body language, you can tell by my eyes. And if people ask me if I'm mad, I'm like, yes, I am. I would not be like, no, thanks, I'm great. Thanks for
okay,
asking. No,
yeah.
no. If I feel like I want to say something, I'm just saying it. But I feel like you're kind of on the same page with me there.
I'm totally on the same page with you. That's why I'm like, yes, honey, yeah, this is exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Um, no, that's why I was asking actually because, as I said, you're such a queen, you're such a personality, you are a very strong person when you come into a room. So people might feel offended even if you come in and they feel like, oh, hold on a second, there's no space anymore for me. It might be because people, perceive others who have a very strong character in a very different way. That's why I was asking you to experience anything like that because I have that a lot.
I do have that a lot. And believe me, this is not what I want, but I guess it's just happening. And
Yeah,
I heard this like so many times, especially from men saying that to me, that they feel like kind of offended or that I'm too strong or too this and that. I'm like, oh
yeah,
my God. Like, get yourself right, man. Like, if you
Yeah,
are good with yourself and you're
yeah,
vibing with your own like body, mind, and soul thing, you should not feeling
absolutely.
offended. You should just be happy.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'm just triggering their own weakness, I guess. And this
Yeah,
is like what
absolutely.
I
We
say
totally do.
about
Yeah,
Robert Betz earlier about the book. This is also
yeah,
one chapter there. Like, if you are aware of your own, let's say, strengths and weaknesses and what you bring to the table, kind of thing, and even that some certain, like, let's say, words, behaviors, or whatever trigger a certain like feeling inside you, it
Mhm.
happens for a reason. It's just showing you or mirroring your own, like, thing going on. I mean, nobody's perfect, you know.
Yeah. Okay, you need to send me a link to that book.
I will.
It
I
sounds really
always
interesting.
say this is like my I love this guy. He also is on Instagram,
Yeah,
and I always watch that stuff. Like, he puts out like stuff like every like second or third day, and he has a YouTube channel, and I'm like just listening to that man, to that voice, and I think I've learned so much. Like,
oh, really?
honestly, like ever since I started reading or listening to him, I feel like I'm happy with myself. I'm like really good. Like, I mean, not every day is the same, and you cannot be happy every day, but I feel like I'm so happy for the little things in life. I appreciate every day so much. I like, for example, I don't need holidays to be happy or be like, oh, now I gotta see my family and friends. And no, I don't need that, because I always take care of that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't need Valentine's Day to celebrate love.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't need Christmas to know that I love my family. That's just so
Celebrate
random.
life every day.
Huh?
You celebrate life every day.
I do.
Yeah,
And I know
that's good.
with like
Yeah.
that being going on in my mind, I feel
Mhm.
like even just, in the morning, having your little routines, getting up, being, oh, nice, what a beautiful day. Let's make some coffee, those little
Yeah.
things.
I love that. I'm the same thing. I will say I'm like a butterfly. I'm just happy all the time. And people don't really believe that. They're like, no,
That's fake.
it can't be. It must be fake. You can say it. If you have any weak moments or depressions or whatever. If just in a sad mood, but I always pretty much overcome these emotions very quickly
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
reflect very quickly and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something coming, so you need to sort it out right away. And
Yes.
I do that right away. I never let it grow or be there or stay into too long in my system. And people some people don't really believe it's real and they say no, it can't be. You can't be happy all the time. It doesn't work. But I actually, before falling asleep, I'm smiling. you know that's just how my nature is, I guess.
And you know what? This is funny that you start this, because sometimes obviously you had like a very stressful day. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to go to bed. I'm so tired. I feel burned out. Let me just lay down. And you can tell like your body still has this like tension. Like, you can feel it in your face, in your entire
Yeah,
body. You're like, you know.
yeah,
So
yes,
sometimes I'm like, Julia, just remember, like, just put your face to a
yeah,
smile for like
smile.
20 seconds. And I
Yeah,
actually feel like how I'm relaxing.
yeah, it helps so much.
It does. And then you're like, man, it's been a good day. It's been rough, man, but it
Yeah,
1% better than yesterday.
yes,
Or even if something bad happened, when, people that you love, that they die or they're sick or whatever, you're
of
like,
course.
still, man, thank you for every second I could spend with that person.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like really like young age, you kind of have to learn that you're like born, you have a certain time on that planet, and then it's also part of the process that at one point, unfortunately, we have to leave. I mean,
Of
some
course.
people, they just fall asleep and never wake up again, which is probably a good way. Other people
Mhm.
like get really sick. So I would hope for myself that I just, fall asleep and that's it. But other
Yeah,
than that, I'm like so happy for every morning that I wake up and I'm able to make my coffee and I go to the
yeah,
gym or
yeah,
do the that I love. But
yeah.
nobody ever said that life is easy. No, it's not. It's
No,
challenging. It is very challenging.
but you grow with the challenges, right?
There
It
you go.
takes
But
us.
you,
I guess
yes,
what's important is to have a goal and you know where you're heading and you know why you're there, and also give back is a very big space in your life that you need to own. pretty fast, because if you never get to the point in which you also give and you learn to give and you learn how that feels to give,
Yes.
because giving is, in my opinion, at the same time always at the same time taking, because when you give you take so much good energy out of that, it just gives you back right away, and many people don't know that feeling, but once they get there they understand it. I think that should happen pretty fast in your life, like give and just enjoy that.
100%. And you also have to understand, unfortunately, that there are people out there who are very used to just take, and they take and they take and they take. And once they took everything that you have to give, just let
Yeah,
you go, because they pursued their own thing,
yeah,
And
yeah,
but if you don't let this happen, or if you like make your point straight pretty fast or clear, then I feel like it can happen. Also,
yeah.
obviously with knowledge, when the older you get, obviously you're just like fine wine. You get better in a lot of things.
And
Your
wiser.
joints may hurt or ache, but still like, no, but it's true. No, it's true. Also, like, it's so valuable, like spending time together with a person that you appreciate, that you want to spend time with, not because you have to, because you want to, because you made this decision,
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
so many key learnings, man. This is fucking insane. Oh, I just
Yeah.
cursed on my own podcast. I'm sorry. And you asked me how my tone of voice was.
It's okay, let it all out.
Let it all. So, but let's continue. I feel like we have so many things to talk about, but I also feel like at the same time, people that are listening are like, wow, that was deep. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to know, okay, this is kind of funny because I've always been doing this ever since I started with Women Hit Harder. So
Yeah.
I have my guests describe themselves with 3 words or 3 attributes.
Oh my God. Oh, don't do that to me.
I already did.
Oh no. Oh wow, this is so difficult. I'm so bad in that. It's like, how would you describe me? I don't know.
I feel like definitely positive minded, colorful,
I like that.
warm hearted.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
I feel like, but you also know what you want. So certain things you just don't let happen. And I feel like you're also a little impatient.
I am a little impatient, but only with things that I can control. I'm not impatient if it's about others. It's like, if
Uh,
someone, for instance, in my team, if any person needs time to solve an issue or to work on some projects, I give them the time and I'm very patient. If it's about me and I need to deliver, I'm very impatient. I need to do it right away. Yeah, but I'm
yeah.
not, as a leader, as a coach, I'm very patient. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I guess I have a good knowledge about you,
Yeah,
just
that's
talking
really
to
good.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Okay. So the next one is,
You
you have to
forgot, you forgot, you forgot the Queenie part. I
oh,
can be also,
the
I,
Queenie part.
I can be also sassy and Queenie sometimes. I
We all
think
have to be.
I always say I am, from the Spice Girls, I was always the posh spice, and that is also something that's in my character. The warm-hearted I am, I'm also a little bit like, I want my comfort and I want my, that's also part of me. I have to admit that as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
but this is just human nature.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Now you have to continue the following sentence. I love.
I'm not gonna speak it out what I just thought.
I pretty much have an idea right now.
I'm not gonna say it. I love oh
You're
my
still
God, there's
thinking
so
it.
many things hitting in my brain. I'm like, I really want to say it? Give me a moment. I love spending time with inspiring people.
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
you are one of them, honey.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, then the
What
next
would
one
you
would
say?
be what?
What would you say?
Oh, I love sunshine.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love coffee. I love spending time with inspiring people with good energies.
yeah,
I love when I get my peace of mind, my peace of
yeah,
soul, when, everything is just like flowing kind of thing.
yeah. Are you a person who is looking a lot into mental health and about, being balanced? Do you watch that consciously?
Um, I honestly have not so much in the past, but I was always aware, obviously, of mental health. But I've always been reading a lot in my life. I love reading.
Mm.
And so obviously the books that I read were like sometimes really, psychologisch, they were deep into psychology.
Yes.
And also obviously at
Psychological.
university when I studied like a lot of stuff. So I feel like um I've been dealing with that a lot, but like when it comes to my own mental health,
Mm.
because the way I was like raised, the way I raised myself, the way I've been around like in the sport and competitive sport,
Yeah,
or in like my academic stuff, or in my job even as a journalist, I feel like I'm such a hard worker. I really don't allow a lot of things to happen to myself in regards to I hate when I fail, I hate when I make mistakes, I hate when I do um when I want to have a conclusion, but I just cannot come to the conclusion for whatever reason, or if I'm like taking
yeah,
too long in some things, it just drives me crazy. But yeah,
yeah,
it's also like in the
yeah,
fight game, mental health is so important. You can't The way you train your body, you have to train your mind. And just
yeah,
recently, actually, like a few months ago, I started meditating because before I had such a hard time letting go. So I'm still
yeah,
needing a guided meditation, but I feel like it's good for me to let
yeah,
go, because even in that time, sometimes it's like only a couple of seconds. I feel like, Julia, just lay down, relax, chill, meditate. I feel like there are coming so many things to my mind, like a million things. Just
yeah,
how my brain works. I'm like, hey, give yourself those 5 minutes. Nothing's going to change in 5 minutes without thinking about this and that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's hard for me. Like my brain
But
is used to like
it's
do it.
also
Yeah.
nice to have this source because you can structure it.
Yes.
They're there, and they're like you consciously acknowledge them and say, okay, I hear you, I put you aside, but I'm gonna come back to you in a minute.
Yes.
And that helps me a lot. I meditate every day. It totally changed my life.
It's good stuff. Yeah. But it ain't easy. I tried everything, like in a bathtub with my candles, with my
Mm.
incense. But the best way I actually can meditate is when I actually go to bed, when I'm in bed.
Yeah,
And for you,
I do it every morning.
in
First thing I
bed or
wake
on the
up.
couch
No, no,
or
no. I
shower?
wake up, I go either out on my terrace, or I just I need the air. I need to open the doors, I need to open windows, I need to feel the nature.
Yeah.
And then I immediately connect, and I need to even set up my alarm to come back. Yeah.
Then you're really like really advanced. That's really, really good.
Yeah, but it also depends what you actually want to achieve, because sometimes I meditate just to detach from everything, just to have a clear mind, and sometimes I meditate about a certain topic.
Hmm.
That helps me also a lot, and I need it. I actually probably even need it more than just once a day.
Is it like meditating slash debating, like pros and cons kind of thing? Or how do you?
No, I don't really have the pro and cons part. It's really, as I said, either I totally connect and I'm just with nature, and I see absolutely nothing but just feel the source, as I call it, and or I meditate about a topic that's in my mind, or an issue that's also going to come up or something, and then I find ways to solve it.
I like it. Wow. But yeah,
Yeah,
that shows how good you are, how far you've gotten already with that stuff. This is what I'm
I guess.
struggling with still. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you just have to let it go. Don't be too tense about it. You know, I mean, if you just close your eyes and you connect with source, and you just go with your breath, that's the easiest way, I think, to let go. And then you you feel it already. It come. I mean, that's what I have. It comes and it just takes me out. I have goosebumps on my entire body when I meditate.
That's crazy because when I do that, when I close my eyes and focus on my breathing, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, okay, you have to do this email and you have to do this invoice and then you have
Yeah,
to do this and maybe the laundry and then you have to still eat. And this is what comes to my mind. This is so
but
crazy.
that's important. It is. You have so much in your mind. You need to sort that out at a certain point when you structure all of these thoughts. Let's say first date it did, second date did, but then you managing all of that. Everything that you just mentioned, you just say, okay, done, done, done. So it's a list that you work on. At a certain point, this list is no longer existent, and then you just meditate, and your mind is actually free to go. But
Okay.
all these thoughts that are coming, they're coming for a reason. It's not just they're junk and they just want to bother you, or they're spam that just, it's your life. So if they come in your mind, then obviously they need to be seen. So give them the feeling that you see those thoughts and you're going to take care of them in a bit.
Oh, I like it. Thank
Yeah,
you. See, I'm even learning. Every time I'm learning, I love that. I'm also open to learning.
we do all
But
the time.
I have to ask you now.
Yeah.
I know we're both so positive. That's why we're having a hard time continuing that sentence. But I hate.
Oh, wow. I hate the word hate. Yeah, I don't hate anything else because I always say if I get to a point in which I hate, I give the person or the thing that I would hate too much power. That's why I don't actually hate.
It's a good point. I like it. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, it is deep, but this is also something I learned over the years. Um, I also don't get mad about things any longer or very quickly because I always think being angry about something or being mad about something, you give the person too much power. So I always, as soon as this emotion comes out, I immediately solve it and it's gone
Very
right away.
good. Very,
Yeah,
very nice.
but it helps you a lot. I also learned that from I don't even know which book that was. I read a book back then. There was this guy who went to the monks and lived there for a while, and then he wrote this book. He was the person, or that book was the reason why I started meditating, and that was one of the first learnings. Don't give the other ones the power to regulate your emotions, like in terms
Man,
of hate
no,
and
it's so good. It's so good. Um, I feel like we could talk about this forever, but I have to work on my bucket list. Um, what is the thing that you bought in your life which you regret the most, which was like so stupid? Also größter Fehlkauf.
of to buy. Holy wow. I I don't really regret
Any buys? No?
any shoppings or whatever it was. No, I don't. No, I'm just thinking about it, but because even if I buy something that I don't like, I realize that I shouldn't buy things like that again because I don't like them or I don't enjoy them. So I take a learning out of it, but I don't really regret it.
Did you sometimes buy something, let's say on Amazon, so you saw it and you're like, nah, I don't like it. So you returned it?
Of
Are you a
course.
returning person?
Yeah, I mean, if I buy something and I don't like it, of course I would return it.
Hey,
I'm
you
really
have no
bad.
idea how many people are out there that buy something and feel like bad that they would send it back, so they keep it. And for me, it doesn't make sense.
But that is online shopping, e-commerce is built on that. That's why by law you have 2 weeks of returning time, right? Because you've never seen this piece before. You just know the pictures, so it is pretty normal. I always, if I get something, it's also if you have a very full house and you need to sort things out and throw things away or give it away or whatever. Um, I always go with the emotion. Do you feel this piece? Would you be sad if it was gone? And if not, then you just let go. And it's the same type of thing when I buy something. It's an emotion that comes out. And if I feel like, oh yeah, I want to own you, I'm gonna keep it. And what happened is that I sent something back, and I'm like, no, I still think about it. It touched me, and I'm emotionally attached to that piece. So I ordered it again. Is that weird?
No, I think it's funny. I wonder if this ever happened to me.
You sent something back and you ordered it again?
I'm thinking
Never
about
happened to
it.
you? Oh yeah, it happened to me.
Oh, one
Yeah.
thing I did was I went to a store and I bought something, and I liked it so much that I checked for it on the online shop for the same brand, and I got like 3 more pairs of it.
Yeah, yeah. This is something I do as well. I do that with classic sneakers a lot. Just white sneakers. I have like a few of them, and I can wear them
Man,
off.
I love
Yeah,
white sneakers so much,
yeah,
and
same.
sneakers in general. It's just,
Yeah,
and
white
shades, and
sneakers. I
yeah.
like it for them too. Or t-shirts. If I find a nice t-shirt, I buy 10 of them because I'm only wearing black. So it's like black and pink. And if I find a nice black t-shirt, I just buy 10 of them, and then they're just there.
That makes sense. I'm the same way. Like, I love colors, but since I moved to Florida, I got better with colors. But if I go
Mhm.
out, for example, or if I have an event or something, I'm pretty much always the person wearing black too. Like, always. I'm a black
Okay.
person. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's nice.
during the day you can be a little colorful, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I like your pink top there.
I
That's
love your
nice.
hoodie. When I saw your hoodie, because I was searching for one, I think the color is called coral.
This
And I
one?
want, yeah.
Yeah, it can be. Even though I think coral is a little more reddish, this goes more into, I would say, salmon,
Oh yeah,
like
salmon
a
coral. But yeah, I
pale,
love that stuff. I love that stuff.
pale pink.
I was looking for a hoodie like this, but I could never find it. I'm like, man.
Acne,
Ah,
Acne Studio, beautiful ones.
this is kind of funny, actually.
Right. Oh my God, you
What
scare me.
what would surprise us about you that we don't know?
Wait a second.
Clear that mind.
What would surprise you about me that you don't know? Wow, that is difficult. I can tell you something about me that you don't know, but I don't know if it would surprise you or not. I, um, for instance, I cannot, when I sleep, I always need to have my feet out of the blanket. Otherwise, I cannot fall asleep.
That's interesting. And like, what do you do if your feet are cold?
They're not. I always have to have the window open when I sleep. So I need this. I need a little cold, fresh air every time.
Wow.
Yeah, this is something. Yeah, it's kind of lame, maybe, but
No, it's not. Hey, talking about sleep though, are you a back, stomach, or side sleeper?
stomach.
I used to
Yeah,
be a stomach. I used to be a stomach sleeper.
it's not the healthiest thing,
Um,
huh?
no. And you wake up
No.
and like, oh my neck, whatever. And then I
You
have this
do
like I have an acupressure mat, those acupressure mats with the needles
what?
that are just on the surface of your skin, and I cannot sleep without it. So this has gotten me into a back sleeper.
What does it do?
Du kennst doch Akupunktur. Akupunktur
Yeah,
geht durch die Haut. Und
yeah.
Akupressur ist an der Oberfläche. Das heißt, es geht
Okay.
nach der chinesischen Heilmedizin. In the Chinese medicine, they say you have like 12 big body meridians. And if they're like out of place for whatever reason, with this acupressure thing, you can get them in the right place, in the right order.
Okay, but on your mattress there are no needles or something.
No, it's a normal like memory foam mattress, like Tempur-Pedic. But on that, to fall asleep, I have my acupressure mat.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like I don't sleep on it like all night, only like a couple of hours. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is too deep. So then put it out and I have the best sleep.
Okay. Nice. Do you also know these heavy blankets?
Oh, I love them.
Oh, did you try it? I've never tried it.
Yeah, I had this company that I started working with when I was in
Yeah.
Germany, and they sent me like a heavy blanket, but I choose the heaviest one. And for my size and body
You
weight,
couldn't breathe any longer.
I'm like, no, but it was probably a little too heavy. But I got the 12 kilo one, the 12 kilo one. 12
Or
kilo.
and do you really sleep better on those?
Funny thing is, I slept really good, but because I don't know, the pressure obviously on top is a lot high. I also needed to put my feet out because otherwise my feet would be like bending like forward,
Yeah.
So, but no, I liked it because it like keeps you in that position.
Yeah.
So, but I could always only sleep on my back.
So much about it, huh?
Say it again.
I heard so much about them, but I never tried it.
Yeah, you should go for it.
Yeah.
They say if you don't like it, you can still return it.
Back to our topic.
Speaking about returning things,
Exactly.
you're like, okay, I have this partner in my life. Can I please return and buy again? I liked it when it was new, not anymore.
2 weeks old. Been there, done that. It's enough. Take it back.
Oh my
Yeah.
dear, we already spoke so much. It's crazy. Like I feel like I could keep going, but I kind of have to watch the time, unfortunately. I just wanted to know.
Oh, no, I have to go.
Yes, I know.
I
It's
told
late
you
for you.
I need to go with I need to get rid of this hair.
Okay, one more thing. I want to know about your key learning in the last year. So what was the thing that you think is like that key learning?
So much happened in the last year. So much happened. I mean, my entire life has changed in the last year. So there are like, it was so much, so many things. A key learning. Oh my God, there are just so many. I don't even know where to start because if I say one of them, all the others feel a little bit like, they're gonna get sad. I don't want to do that.
Okay, if you don't want to do that, then I will give you the last words in that podcast. Like, is there anything you would like to say?
There were so many learnings. There were, what I learned is reflection was always a part of my life that I always took a lot of care of because I, wanted to, there was a time of my life I always wanted to become the most favorable one, and you might know what I'm talking about. And at a point, with all the reflection that you're going through, you get to a point where all of a sudden all of that doesn't really matter anymore because you always by by the time you realize, hey, what's really there that's going to also last, or what's what you also going to leave behind you. I mean, not about people are gonna know your name for decades. I don't care about anything about that. But during your lifetime, make it comfortable and as caring for everyone surrounded by you or other way around, because being mad or being arrogant or being not nice to people doesn't take you anywhere. And this is maybe one of the key learnings. If you give attitude, it just shows your own how you say self lacking of self-confidence. This is one of the things I think I learned in the last year, also because it happened to other people a lot and I saw them doing it, and I was like, in a way in which they tried to attack me or they tried to say something against me or make a very bad joke about something very little but about me, I would be like, I meanwhile take it as a compliment. If someone actually says something bad about me, I'm like, oh, how beautiful that this person in his life, I'm actually playing such a role that this person needs to attack me or talk about me in a bad way. I'm like, that is just a confirmation about me doing just the right thing.
Oh, hell yeah. My grandmother used to say, Mitleid bekommt jeder, aber Neid muss man sich erarbeiten. Und
Ja,
it's so.
absolut richtig. Ja, und da ist ganz viel davon. There's a lot of that out there.
That's true. Oh my God, Ayan, I thank you so much. It was amazing, inspiring, and thank you so much for your time. I'm glad you shared your time with us.
Yeah.
And all the
Come
best. I'll see you soon.
Let's have a nice dinner party.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
wait.
Okay, my love. Sending a lot
Take care.
of kisses and a big love. Mwah. Ciao.
Ciao, tschüss.
So, ihr Lieben, das war's für heute. Falls ihr Fragen oder Ideen habt, Anregungen, dann sendet mir doch gerne eine E-Mail an info@womenhitharder.com. Ansonsten bis in 2 Wochen zur nächsten Folge von Women Hit Harder. Bis dahin, bleibt gesund. Eure Julia.